with your host, Frank the Bank Cotto, the owner of Lincoln Lending Group right here in Tampa Bay for 23 years. Joined by his incredible co-host, Senia Akishina, realtor with Mahara and Associates, Tampa's top real estate company. Together, they have helped finance and close nearly $1 billion of real estate every year. If you're looking for local mortgage or real estate advice, the Business Happy Hour team has been right here on News Radio WFLA for over a decade. Listen right here or find us on the Business Happy Hour YouTube channel or follow us on Instagram at Frank the Bank Cotto. Now sit back, relax, and get ready for some serious mortgage, real estate, and business talk with two of Tampa's top experts. Here's Frank the Bank and Senia.
Hey, Tampa Bay. Welcome back to the Business Happy Hour, your number one show for all things business and entrepreneurial. I am your host, Frank the Bank Cotto, owner of Lincoln Lending Group and 813mortgage.com, right here in the WFLA studio with my incredible co-host, Senia Akishina. How you doing, Senia?
Hello. I'm happy to see you, Frank.
Oh, are you?
Yes, and I'm definitely happy that everybody's tuned in to our show. Excited for our guest today.
I love it. And who is our guest today, Senia?
Well, we've actually had him on before. It's been a minute, though, so I missed him. I'm like, you know what? We got to have Mr. Jeffrey Weaver back.
Yes.
He's with Southern Risk Insurance Agency.
Hey, gang.
Yes,
and
he is. Welcome
I've
back,
just been dying to, ask all these questions post-hurricane, so we are going to save all the best parts for last after, we catch up with you, too, because you just got back from the Capitol.
Oh, my gosh, you're right.
And we haven't talked, so I'm all curious, how that went.
I probably should have written that down in our show. I did something really exciting last week, and I'm like that guy who just keeps moving, and I forget what I do. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, well, you left me hanging, so I remember.
So if you guys, did anyone listening or watching Instagram see the stress in Senia's voice and face?
I'm sure they did.
You did a great job. I was actually in a meeting in the House of Representatives in the House chamber when your notification for the radio show came up, and I had to shut it off for a second, and I'm like, oh, dang it. I got to watch what she's doing. And so I had you on in the corner, and I'm literally in the House chamber. It was funny. But yeah, so first of all, Jeff, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Happy to be here.
Yes. And we are going to tease everybody. You're not going to get to find everything out about insurance until a little later in the show. So you're going to have to listen to Senia and I talk before you actually get to meet Jeff again. But I promise it's going to be a great show. We've got lots of questions. I actually am doing a claim myself with my insurance company. So this is a great time to have Jeff on. We're kind of discussing before the show some of my experience, which I'm going to ask him as an uninterested third party if it's real or what's going on. So stay in tune with that. If you guys want to know anything about insurance, you should join on the Instagram right now or Facebook, but go to the Instagram because I'm watching the comments. So if you have any comments about insurance or any questions, put them in there, and Senia and I will do our best to watch them, and we'll try to ask Jeff while we're here on the show. So what did I do at the Capitol? It was a lot of fun. So I went to, and by the way, it's the state of Florida Capitol, because some people saw it wasn't DC. Right?
I totally thought that's okay.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people did. They're like, man, you're in DC. I was like, no, I'm not that cool. I'm kind of cool, but I'm really not that cool. No, so I am.
Bad.
Yeah. Hey, listen, let's just go with it. I was with Trump. So anyway, so I went to, I had the honor to be a government affairs delegate representing basically the Central Florida area for Florida Association of Mortgage Professionals, FAMP. And there's only a handful of us across the state who do it. And we go up to the Capitol, and we have a lobbyist. I think it's Sean Cronin, if I remember his name. And he gets us meetings with senators and people from the House of Representatives to push, you could say, our legislative agenda. But it's all about real estate because it's about mortgages. And so I'll tell everybody kind of what we were doing because it is very exciting. Very, very exciting for condos, actually, two major things. But I'll start with this, Hometown Hero. So we met with 12 different senators and House of Representatives people. We had a little happy hour at the Governor's Club the night before. And during that happy hour, I'm standing there. I'm going to lose my mind on who I was talking. I was talking to Senator Bernie Jacques, actually, who we had on the show, right? I'm sorry, House of Representative Bernie Jacques. And I'm telling him about trigger leads, right? Jeff, are you familiar with trigger leads and what that is? Okay, so good. I get to educate somebody.
Yeah.
Do you know what trigger leads are?
No, I actually don't.
Well, there you go. You and the other 100,000 people listening, now we're going to learn about trigger leads. So here's what a trigger lead is. The damn Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, the three Gestapo credit agencies in the country, right, who have a monopoly on us because they're the only ones who control credit in our country. They decided a few years ago that it would be okay if they sold everyone's information every time they had their mortgage, their credit ran for a mortgage. Right? It's called a trigger lead, meaning when we run their credit on a hard credit pull, it triggers the agency because they know they're providing us the data. They're like, oh, this guy's shopping for a mortgage because it's a mortgage company who ran it. Now let me go sell this data out to anybody who will freaking buy it. Right? So what happens to the customer is the customer now gets 100 phone calls in the first 24 hours.
My last few buyers, that's been their exact complaint. They're like, oh my God. They're like, all of a sudden, my phone is just blowing up.
Yes, to the point where you can't even use your phone. Okay, it is horrendous. So I'm standing there talking to Bernie, and I'm talking about how many times people are getting these phone calls. And this senator, I'm terrible, I can't remember her name, but she walks by and she goes, are you talking about trigger leads? And it was my job as the delegate to educate them on trigger leads. I didn't know they knew what it was. And I said, yes, ma'am, we're talking about trigger leads. She goes, can I join the conversation? I said, come on in. So she shows me her phone. Her sister had applied for a mortgage the day before, and her sister got 94 calls, not just texts, calls, 94 that day. Sent her sister, who's a senator, a message and said, my God, is there anything you can do about this in legislation? Because this should be illegal. Well, the reason it's not illegal is because every single time we've ever had our credit pulled anywhere, right, we have opted in. Nobody reads the crap that like you go buy a new TV and you opt in. Well, guess what? You just told them they can listen to you, right? Same crap. You have already opted in, so they legally can sell your data. And that's what they do. And the calls don't stop usually for almost 30 days. They tailor off, because you're a hot lead, right? We all buy leads. You're a hot lead, and then it kind of tailors off after a few days. But it's to the point where our clients say to us, like, what do we do? I say, well, save our numbers. Here's 3 phone numbers. If it's not one of these, just don't answer. I hate to tell you, don't answer if you don't know them. It's all I can tell you. There's a way to avoid it, right? How you avoid it in our company, and what we would do for your client, Sen, would be we do a soft credit pull up front. We run credit without doing a hard pull. So now we can see what's on the credit without creating an inquiry, which it doesn't create the trigger lead. And then there's a website called optoutprescreen.com. Anybody can go to it. Anybody listening right now can go to optoutprescreen.com, and you can opt yourself out forever. You go one time, you enter your information on there. We do it as a courtesy for all of our clients. So our procedure is run soft credit, opt them out. Then it takes 3 to 5 business days for the crap to process. After that, you can run a hard credit, and they cannot call you. They will not get the data to call you. Wow. It's the only way to fix the problem. So what I did was I met with the senators with another solution. Sorry to get a little boring here, but Section 494 of the Florida statutes says it is what governs the mortgage industry and all of our licensed originators. So I implored the senators to change the statute. Change the statute to say that Florida originators cannot call trigger leads. We can save Florida homeowners. We can't fight Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, and that's the problem. That's why all legislation that has been put in front gets squashed. Because think about it, they run credit in America. You ain't gonna beat them, okay? So we can beat them by changing the regulation and stop it for the state of Florida, and then we're hoping as other states will follow suit. Eventually, it'll make it up to Washington, and something happens. So that was my most exciting thing. We also asked for Hometown Heroes to extend their funding from $100 million to $200 million, and every single senator that I met with signed on to that. So that was wonderful. So I think there's a real chance that the Budget Appropriation Committee is going to get us double the money for Hometown Heroes, which is, I think it's like $25,000 for home buyers.
That would be great. That money runs out quick. I mean, as soon as they announce it, everybody's on it.
The longest it has lasted is 6 weeks. Wow. The shortest is 3 weeks. Wow. And that was our exact point to the senators. I'm like, well, this is a great program for 1 month. I even came up with another idea. I said, well, why can't you space the money out? Because I don't think it's really fair. If they release the money in April, if you're buying in April, you got a chance. Everybody else the rest of the year has no chance at the money. So why can you not just put out, $50 million a quarter? Genius, right? I'm a mathematician. And then the last thing, there's 6 things, but we'll just go into one more thing, and it's condos. Did you guys know that the state of Florida is the only state out of 50 states that has this requirement, that if your condo that you live in doesn't qualify for Fannie Mae standard financing because of like the budget or the insurance, which, Jeff, we should talk about today. A lot of condos are underinsured. And if they don't meet Fannie Mae requirements, then they have what's called a limited review loan process where you can put down 25%. So let's say you qualify for 3 or 5% down, but your condo doesn't have the proper insurance or the proper budget or proper reserves, you have to put down 25%. In Florida, every other state is 10% down. 49 other states is 10% down.
Why is it like that here? That's
because
not fair.
We are being geographically discriminated. And, using that word when I go in front of politicians, that works real well. I'm like, hi, guys, let's talk about discrimination. And they're looking at this white boy like, what is he? I'm like, no. We're talking insurance discrimination. We're talking Fannie Mae discrimination. So that really struck a nerve with a lot of people. I didn't even know. Before I met with the lobbyist, I didn't realize we were the only state. I thought it was some other states. Nope. Florida's the only one.
Did that happen like after, the building collapsed, or has it always
been like
just
that
been
since
like that?
1991?
Really?
91. And the last thing I'll mention, I cheat and I say one more, homestead exemptions. We're at 50,000 now. I do believe that our efforts are going to get us 100,000 homestead exemption, which has also been in place since 1989, right? We have barely raised them. I think we were at 25, we went to 50. Come on, dude. Prices of homes have like quadrupled, and our homestead exemption has not. So there's our entire first segment.
That was very informative, though.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
it's good stuff. So if you guys want more information, you can text me directly or message on here, and I'll tell you guys what you can do to avoid these problems. But the trigger leads, I would encourage everyone listening to go to optoutprescreen.com right now. You don't have to be doing a mortgage. You don't have to have your credit pulled. It costs you nothing. Opt yourself out. So the next time you're ready to do a mortgage, you don't have to worry about what
that is probably the most valuable thing I've gotten.
Thank you. And every radio show we've ever done.
This is great. My buyers are going to love it because that is a big complaint I hear about.
Yeah, it is the number one complaint. It ruins the customer experience. It's very sad. So anyway, on that note, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back, do some stats, and then we're going to dive right into insurance. You guys aren't going to have to wait too long, maybe a half another segment, and you're going to start learning about some insurance things right here on the Business Happy Hour with Senia Akishina from Mahara and Associates, and yours truly, Frank the Bank Kodo. Go find me on Instagram, and we'll be back in just a minute. All right, thanks, James. Woo!
Okay, that was good, though.
That was awesome. Thank you for reminding me to talk about that, because that will be a great talking point on our reels.
I totally thought you were in D.C.
No, you're like the third person. I actually have.
After she said it, I thought you were.
Yeah, no, I have a guy who's like a high up Pentagon guy or whatever, and I was like, oh, I'm at the Capitol. Bob, he's like, hey man, come see me. He's like, I'll get you in the Pentagon, and I'm like, Pentagon? I'm like, there's a Pentagon in Florida. Anyway, we have to remember on Instagram, everyone can see what we're saying.
I know. That's the fun part about watching it, though. Get all the little, behind the scenes
yeah, you
footage.
guys get the behind the scenes footage. Maybe I'll take my phone into the bathroom again on this show. Maybe.
Don't do that.
I did that, Jeff. I literally had to run to the bathroom one time, and we had it live on Instagram. And I get all the way to the bathroom door, and I look at my phone. I was like, oh, I was like, we shouldn't do this.
Not on purpose. I was going to ask on purpose.
No, not on purpose. No. All right, James, we are ready. You have some stats?
Just the same ones, but yeah.
All the best mortgage or real estate advice from Tampa Bay's top experts. It's the Business Happy Hour with Frank the Bank Kodo and Senia Akishina.
Hey, Tampa Bay, welcome back to the Business Happy Hour. We hope you guys love our new format, our new intros, our new rejoins, and please don't forget we are now on 3 radio stations, not just 970 WFLA, which is our bread and butter. We've been here for over 10 years now on the same time. We are now on Saturday mornings, bright and early, 5 a.m. on 1250 WHNZ. That's 1250 WHNZ, and we are FM, guys. If you're an FM, that's right, James. Let's throw the applies. FM, we are on 105.9 FM. So check us out on your FM dial. By the way, I just heard something about them, like new laws with cars is they have to now put AM receivers. James, you know something about this? I saw you perk up. Why are they fighting that? Like, you don't want to have AM radio? Are you serious?
Uh-oh.
Dang it.
I love that guy.
Okay, so James is saying for me to blame Elon Musk on this, which if he's saving me on taxes, I won't drive my Tesla off of a bridge. But either way, they're fighting to putting the AM radio in cars, which funny you say that because I have to use TuneIn to listen to 970 in the Tesla because there is no way. Does your car have AM?
Yeah.
It does have. Does your car have AM radio?
It does.
So it's Elon. Elon is trying to take away my AM radio. I found a workaround. So anyway, we're going to get that fixed. Sen, stats. What's new? Anything pop up from like January to January?
Well, we still have the December, but hopefully
Yeah.
next week's episode, but
Yeah.
we like our December numbers.
Yeah.
So I don't
Can
see
you
why
just
we can't go
refresh
through
me?
them. Of course I can.
Yeah, refresh me. I've got 2 events tonight I'm speaking at, so I want to make sure I'm not lying when I say
Okay,
this.
absolutely. Yeah, let's go through all 3 of our counties.
Yeah.
So for Hillsborough County, our closed sales were up by 17%.
Okay.
And that's year over year, December. In Pinellas County, that's the one you got really excited about. It was up 33.2% year over year. And Pasco up 15% for closed sales.
Golly. And that's the number of sales, December to December.
Number of sales. So, yeah, kind of just shows, activity. And, yeah, we did say that, hey, post-hurricane, since we lost a little bit of time, market time, then maybe some of that is, picking up from it. But anyway, we like those numbers. So
I think those are very strong. And now, didn't the sales prices go up too?
So for median sales price, again, year over year, Hillsborough County, we're still at $425,000.
Okay.
It was down just a tad bit, but Pinellas was up 9.5%.
Okay.
Their median sales price for December is $477,500.
Okay.
And Pasco County was down a little bit more than Hillsborough, but median sale price still $380,000.
Okay. 3. All right. So it wasn't down much. So it's really Pinellas, I think, that really surprised me because of the storms.
Yes.
Like Sen was saying, like maybe that was inventory that was kind of postponed because of our lack of anything in October. But
the median sales price, though, I mean,
right, the price
December,
didn't go
the
down.
price before, right? So
And everybody, I mean, you hearing it out there, Jeff? People talking about our prices going down. Are you getting deals on the beach? I'm not seeing them.
Not personally, no.
No, I'm not. I'm not seeing deals. And trust me, I'm looking, right? And I'm not, the deals I keep seeing advertised are tear down your house and rebuild this 4-story mansion.
I bet that's probably a lot of it. And
Yeah.
I doubt any of that makes to the MLS, really.
No.
It's probably kind of the private deals that are happening where,
Right.
Somebody does have too much damage that they're just, let me just cut my losses. And
Yeah, just sell. Just get
Yeah.
out of there. But I don't know. I haven't seen it drive prices down, but I can't wait to hear our January to January because now when you get to January, now we're like a quarter removed from that. So
yeah, so we'll see. But
Let's see.
overall, I think we're in a good market.
We're-
There's nothing crazy happening where people are like, oh my gosh, it's crashing and,
Right.
going down the drain. We don't see any signs of that.
No.
And
I
actually,
don't.
I got a contract in South Tampa, and I was talking to that agent, because when I'm working with a buyer, it's like, hey, prices are softening, yada yada, trying to really get that deal. I'm not seeing that.
No.
And I tell my client, like, South Tampa is just the market on its own, and I mean, there's always demand for South Tampa.
Exactly. There's
Hurricanes
no
or not, flooding or not, they don't care what's going on Bayshore.
No.
I mean,
They can have burglar bars on their windows in South Tampa, and they still will sell. And every freaking rain, it floods their neighborhood, and they still buy. But that's okay. It's a great market. So anyway, our advice to you guys is buy now. You're going to call Senia if you need some assistance at...
yes, please, 813-755-REAL. And last week I messed up the website because I was so nervous without you. It's TampaRealEstate.pro.
All right, TampaRealEstate.pro, very easy. Reach out to Sen so she can find you the house. And when you need the mortgage, very easy. Just go to contactfrankthebank.com, probably the easiest thing to do. Of course, my cell phone number is all over the Instagram page. I'd love for you guys to like us on Instagram, Frank the Bank Kodo or the Business Happy Hour. You can find Senia on there. It's Realtor Sen, K-S-E-N, on the old Instagram. But please reach out to us, guys. Don't forget, we actually run businesses, and we are here to answer your questions. And we do love getting paid for our services.
This we just do for fun.
We really do. We love bringing this in front of you guys and having guests such as Jeff on. So, I'm going to forego the reverse mortgage stuff right now since we talked all about the cool Capital visit and everything. But Jeff, I know we're going to probably talk about some things maybe with some people, some more experienced people over 62. And maybe I'll bring it up then when we talk about insurance for people like that.
Definitely.
But Jeff, thank you for coming on the show. This is Jeff Weaver, Southern Risk Agency. Jeff, are you allowed to give out information on how to contact you?
We are.
right.
Our phone number is 813-333-9887. I'll do it one more time really quick. 813-333-9887.
That's actually an easy number. Did you guys pick that? Because it's a pretty good one. I like it. 333-9887. That's easy.
Easy. Just rolls off.
And by the way, guys, as always, if you want to get in touch with Jeff, for any reason, just message Senia and I if you don't remember his phone number and just say, I just need to talk to that insurance guy. and then we're going to get you in front of the insurance guy and let him answer the questions. Cindy, I'll let you take it away. You've created a really nice list of all these questions.
It's a big list because you know what? I mean, we're a few months, now down the road after, the big hurricanes. Obviously, it was a huge thing for us in Florida. And I mean, I'm sure there's probably people that still have questions. And I guess for me, Frank, we were lucky not to, get too much damage. I know you had a couple little things that you're getting addressed, but overall, what has been your biggest challenge with this action? I know you guys were super duper busy for like the first probably what?
Hold on, I don't want to mess Jeff up. He's got 40 seconds.
Oh,
start with something.
Just started. Okay.
Well, I tell you what, when we get back from the break, we're going to go into the biggest challenge.
Okay.
But now, why don't we just give Jeff, let's do a little more time. How long you been in the business? And let's give your number again.
Sure. So I've been in the business for over 10 years. Again, the phone number is 813-333-9887. And we are happy to be done. Seriously, we are happy to be done with the season. It was exhausting. It really was.
So, by the way, when's the season officially over? When does it end?
End of November.
November, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but the thing is, we feel like it keeps going. Anyway, we'll be back on the Business Happy Hour in just a minute with Jeff Weaver from Southern Risk Agency, 813-333-9887. We'll be back in a second. Awesome. Woo, we brought him in, and then I looked at James in the ear. Can you guys hear him when he says it or no? He's like,
no.
He's like, you got a minute? I was like, oh,
nice.
I was like, yep, he's not going to get that question answered in a minute. All right.
I get distracted somewhere.
Rosa! What's up, Rosa, on Instagram? We miss you.
She logs on. So, yeah, we chat here and there.
Rosa, I got a great idea.
Hey, Rosa.
Do you even know, Jeff? Rosa, you need to come on the show with Cinia on the 18th of March. Rosa is looking for, Cinia is looking for a co-host on the 18th. Don't make Jeff do it. Don't make him do it.
Rosa would be better.
Rosa would be better. Well, from a look standpoint, I think you and I are going to lose on this one. So
always,
we'll just, But Rosa, definitely.
No, it would be nice to have Rosa. I know she's been busy, so I'm excited to hear about how things are going with her new company.
Yeah, I'm sure she's listening. But while we wait for James to get us back on the air here, he's ready. I'm going to text her right now and be like, "Come on, let's do it." All right. We're ready, James.
Welcome to the Business Happy Hour radio show with your host, Frank the Bank Cotto, the owner of Lincoln Lending Group right here in Tampa Bay for 23 years. Joined by his incredible co-host, Senia Akishina, realtor with Mahara & Associates, Tampa's top real estate company. Together, they have helped finance and close nearly $1 billion of real estate every year. If you're looking for local mortgage or real estate advice, the Business Happy Hour team has been right here on News Radio WFLA for over a decade. Listen right here or find us on the Business Happy Hour YouTube channel or follow us on Instagram at Frank the Bank Cotto. Now sit back, relax, and get ready for some serious mortgage, real estate, and business talk with two of Tampa's top experts. Here's Frank the Bank and Senia.
All right, Senia and Frank are back in the studio, 970 WFLA. Don't forget, we're also on 1250 WHNZ. And if you're an FM guy, you got an FM tuner in your car, go to 105.9 and listen to us on Saturday mornings. And if you forget about all this, you can find us on the old podcast system on iHeartRadio. Our podcasts are there. And guess what, guys? If you want to watch our videos, Senia, we're on YouTube.
I know.
We are on YouTube.
I was surprised to see that. I think, oh my God, that's me.
That's you. Every single show is on YouTube, and I'm also taking the shows, the awesome little edited shows, not just our little Insta thing here, and I'm putting them on our Facebook as well. So you can find us on the old YouTube and Facebook. You can listen, you can see us. Just check us out and give us a call. We'll take care of you on the mortgages and the real estate. Jeff Weaver, Southern Risk Agency Insurance Extraordinaire. Senia has a book of questions for you here. We're going to get to some of these for sure, and then I've got a couple for you, but I'm going to let Senia restart that question. Here we go.
So yes, the hurricanes that we had.
Yes.
So at least as long as I've lived here, that was, the biggest storm, back-to-back storms. And it was the closest we've seen to, all those warnings because they happen every year. It's like, oh my gosh, everybody freaks out. We stock up. But I mean, this time they're really,
It happened.
it happened.
Yeah.
So on the insurance standpoint, I know you guys were bombarded with calls. People probably frantic. What was the biggest challenge dealing with this?
Well, so first thing that I'll say, if I can, is I would advise that everyone have an agent and not do this alone, because insurance, first off, is boring. Okay, you guys don't want to be doing insurance. Get an agent, even if it costs a little bit more money. Get an agent.
Right.
I would say the biggest thing, or the thing that was most sad, was people who didn't have flood insurance. I don't know how many times I heard we've never flooded before. Renters in the game now flooded. People on Davis Island lost everything. So that would be my first thing, was look at some flood insurance. Spend a couple $100s a year. Look at your flood insurance.
Because it's really cheap
No,
if
and
you're
it's
not in
funny
a flood
because
zone.
that's been your guys' spiel. When
Yeah.
somebody calls about insurance, I know that is always part of the insurance agent spiel.
Right.
Hey, get flood insurance,
Mm-hmm.
even if your lender doesn't require it. But I feel like people obviously didn't, heed that advice,
Right.
and a lot of people didn't have the flood insurance.
Well, something that I say is, when someone has a claim, they don't call in and say, hey, how much is my policy, right? I get a call and say, do I have the coverage? So spend the extra money, spend the extra time, get an agent, and understand, A, what you're covered for, and B, get a flood policy.
Now, I've got an interesting question on that.
Sure.
Maybe there's a rule of thumb, maybe there's not. But what elevation would you recommend that someone get flood insurance? That, because I know there's obviously if you're required to have it, you're required. But people who aren't required, they can go look up their elevation. Like, I think I'm at 25 feet or something like that. Should I have it?
Well, so here's what I'll tell you is we all live in Florida, right?
Yeah.
Is it a peninsula? Is that what Florida is?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
So there's going to be a point where we probably all don't outsmart Mother Nature.
Right.
So no, there's no rule of thumb. How it works right now with an NFIP policy is each property is individually rated. So yes, there's still technically quote unquote flood zones, but each property pays their own rate based off of how elevated you are.
Got it.
Right. So to your point, being 25 feet, do it. Right. Just do it. Spend the $300 and do it.
Then it doesn't matter.
Right. I mean, like, the only time that I would say not to do it is, you're on the 4th floor on a condo or something like that in a high rise, right?
Yeah. We got
don't-
bigger problems if you flood.
Right. Because, then it's going to be dire. But, if you're in a single family residence and you're living somewhere in Tampa, Pinellas, Pasco, get your flood policy.
Interesting answer.
Yeah.
So you're basically saying, listen, dude, it's $300.
Do it.
Because there's other things, if I understand, that are covered. Like it's just water itself. It doesn't have to be like the ocean rising to get to your house to use your flood policy, right?
It's any kind of rising water. So an easy way to think of this is on your home insurance policy, what's going to be covered is if the water is coming from the top.
Right.
For example, right? Roof gets torn off, window broken. What the flood policy covers is from the bottom up.
Right.
So, you were talking about South Tampa earlier. I know that there was like 4 days last year where people just got flooded driving home on like a Wednesday.
Yep.
Right? Flood claim, flood policy.
Interesting.
Okay.
All right. So that's good.
On that
blanket
note,
advice.
though, so I guess for people, because most of us don't really look into insurance or know the difference. Hey, I have homeowners insurance. So, I mean, we know that flood policy is separate. How do the other coverages work? Is there other coverage that you can get? Like what's wind and, I don't know,
Sure.
storm damage?
So on the flood, the most you're going to get on an NFIP, which is a FEMA policy, is going to be $250,000 for your structure, and the most you're going to get for your contents is $100,000. So the max the policy would pay out is that $350 minus your deductible.
That's across the board.
That right. You could purchase extra flood insurance. That's a whole other topic if that's worth it or not. But at minimum, do the NFIP policy. And then in regards to other coverages, the other thing I think we were dealing with is, there wasn't a lot of claims that paid out. Like, actually, as of today, I would say the insurance is in a better spot than when I saw you guys last time, as far as me being able to write policies.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Yeah.
Well, so I would say there's some legislative stuff going on, but I would say So if you think about this too, most damage, not all, but most damage sustained is not going to meet that hurricane deductible threshold. Right. So most people, so let's talk about that. Most people, the majority of folks, have a 2% hurricane deductible.
Yep.
Frank, we were talking about this before the show, but if you're insuring your home for $500,000, it's 2% off of that $500,000. So most folks, unless you had a pretty substantial loss, did not reach that, and you're probably fixing that kind of stuff out of pocket.
Yeah, that's $10,000 on your $500,000 policy, and mine was like $15,000. So that was actually the call that I made to the insurance after the first inspection when I made a little claim, and that's exactly what the lady said. She goes, I don't think you have enough damage to absorb your deductible. So I mean, it basically says go fix it yourself.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Now, why is the hurricane deductible so much higher? Is there a reason for that?
I think that it's always been like that, and I think what that does is deter on a natural disaster level that we're not seeing these massive amount of claims, right? We saw more losses, at least at my agency. We saw more losses for the first one, Helene, which didn't even hit our area, right? But it was those flood losses because of the rising tidal waters. On the Milton side of things, I would say that was a low claim submission rate, at least at my agency.
Very interesting. Now, how about this question? I'm gonna let you get to your sheet in a minute. Is it true that if you file a claim after a storm and it gets denied or whatever, you drop it, it doesn't count against you? It doesn't hurt you?
So back to my first point is get an agent, okay? Reason being is anytime that you bypass, or if you don't work with an agent and you work directly with a carrier, if you call to ask a question, that is going, most of the time it is going to go on your file, and it's probably going to stick with you for 5 years, okay? To your point, catastrophic claims should not go against you. So yes, it is true by the book. Okay? By the book, you're on the right track.
Okay.
I will tell you, I was rating a home yesterday. All right, had a great rate for this client. Got to the end to go ahead and submit the policy, and the policy was declined by a carrier because of one of these storm damages.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I thought they weren't allowed to decline you for that, but I guess they can do what the heck they want, huh?
Sure.
Wow.
So by the book. And that is the book answer that I give my clients. And also, too, if you need to file a hurricane claim, file the claim, right? Like if you're in a spot to where, don't worry about how it's, file your claim.
Right. I mean, that's what it's there for.
It is.
That's why you're paying
for
it. So you might as well use it. All right, Sania. Book question number 4.
I don't know too much about insurance, and that's why most people know that like hurricane claim is different than your homeowners. I mean, I know my homeowner's deductible, and I would think, hey, if I've got damage, this is my deductible. I have at least that much. So do most people know that, needs to be that 2% threshold? Like were some people surprised calling in like, oh, what? Like
Sure.
I didn't know that. And they were totally blindsided because now they have to come out of, pocket.
Well, I would say most are not, right? And there's things that take place, right? Homes have to get closed on, and we're trying to deal with other things, DTI and all these other
trigger leads,
right? Okay. So again, I'll go back to get an agent, review your policy annually. Okay, find out what you have. At the end of the day, I would love for everyone to have great coverages, but it is your policy at the end of the day. Your agent should be reviewing these with you. If they're not, proactively review them with your agent. That's what you're paying that person to do. So I would like to think that the majority of my clients listen to me, right? I mean, I'm not that exciting, but I would like to think that they do listen to me and that they do know that they have a higher deductible for hurricanes. Name storms, by the way.
Okay. The ones that inquire. But it sounds like your advice then is that when your top advice, hey, every year, get on the phone with your agent, go over your policies and okay.
So I want to make a comment to something you said earlier, getting an agent. I've never known not getting an agent. And maybe that's just because I'm in the industry, but guys, I think that's great advice. You need an advocate. And I don't think it costs a lot more money. I think you save more money because of how they're going to help you. Anyway, we're going to take a break on the Business Happy Hour. We got a hard stop. Back in just a minute with Jeff Weaver from Southern Risk Agency.
Well, I know to get an agent.
Sorry, I blew that one.
No, but I mean, just to get my policy set
You
up.
have an
Hey, you
agent.
give me the, quotes, We set up the policy,
Yeah.
and then I don't think to even check in with you ever unless there's an issue or
I mean, is it
Prices
people
going
go
up.
call Geico, they get it a little cheaper, but they don't have an agent, basically?
Well, what's neat is so Heritage, right? Heritage is here with. We write with Heritage, and the cost would be the same actually. The company takes the loss.
The company takes a loss. Okay, so that's good. So it's not us.
No.
Yeah, I would tell. Why would you not have an agent? I just don't.
I would never buy a home on my own. I don't think like without someone representing me, right?
Sure.
Right.
Same
But
kind
the
of-
whole annual, checkup. But what about with car insurance? Should I
Same.
do that really?
Definitely,
So
same.
every year, call them up, just
Yeah.
review your policy.
Yeah, when they send you
Okay.
something that says it's going to renew, it's like, get on the phone.
That sounds like a.
And you're
good
probably
rule.
doing in Florida. You're probably doing it anyways, because
Okay, cool. You saw I blew that one a little bit, James? I blew that stop by probably 5 seconds. Oh, okay, good. All right. Don't ever tell me that again. Well, okay. Well, I'll stop. You Instagrammers cannot hear our banter. Thank God. Yeah, we're ready.
Let's get back to the Business Happy Hour radio show with your host, Frank the Bank Cotto, owner of Lincoln Lending Group, and his co-host, Senia Akishina, realtor with Mahara and Associates.
Guys, welcome back to the Business Happy Hour with Senia Akishina from Mahara and Associates. Ray Mahara runs an amazing team over there, and man, we are working together every day. We just put a contract in. Actually, last night we had one approved, and it was phenomenal. So if you guys need a great real estate agent, I know you're going to call Senia at
813-755-REAL.
or they can go to the website. Tampa.
TampaRealEstate.pro.
Don't make
I
me
got
say it.
it.
TampaRealEstate.pro. And guys, always contact FrankTheBank.com, or you can find me on Instagram and just text me directly. We'll get you taken care of on a mortgage. We have the pleasure of having Jeff Weaver from Southern Risk Agency in studio. We were talking about getting an agent right before I got rushed out of that quick break. And guys, listen, like Jeff said in the break, he's like, well, I wouldn't buy a house without somebody representing me. Why would you insure the most expensive asset of your life and just do it on your own? You just call a freaking 800 number and be like, oh, give me insurance. No, you need an agent. It doesn't cost more. I'm with Heritage. Jeff sells to Heritage, and he just made a point to me. He goes, it's the same price. He goes, you Frank, you can call Heritage or you can call me. Well, if I call Heritage, I don't have anybody to talk to. I don't even know what to do. But Jeff's the guy I'm going to call and say, hey, man, listen, my toilet just overflowed and it did this and this. What do you think? Right? Instead of me going on record.
That's right.
Like you said.
That's right.
Because we don't go on record when we call Jeff.
Never go on record.
That's right. Unless you're on the Business Happy Hour. So, by the way, you can find Jeff at 813-333-9887. Very easy. It's 333-9887. If you have any insurance questions, or reach out to Senia and I will get you in touch. We've got a whole segment here. Senia's got 15 pages of questions, so we got to hit you with another one. Senia, go.
Oh, I'm trying to think. Yeah, there's so many. It's overwhelming. One of my questions is there, I'm sure there is, but what is the time limit to file a claim that's hurricane related?
Yeah.
Say I'm a procrastinator and it's like, oh man, I've just been dealing, with the repairs. Like, is there a time frame?
There is. It is a very long time frame, and this was recently just changed. So double and triple check me on this out there in the interwebs, but it was 2 years.
Okay.
And I think with some new legislation over the last couple of years, that has now been taken down to 1 year. But still,
But still, I mean,
Still.
that's longer than
It
I
is.
would think.
I mean,
so,
if you don't file a claim and it's been a year, shame on you. I mean,
no, a year seems plenty long enough, even for
Yeah.
procrastinators like me.
a year. I mean, come on, dude.
Okay.
Something's broken in your house. You're going to just look at it for a year? Oh, there's a lot of people listening saying yes. That's a good one. What else? What other ones you got?
Oh, let's
Let's see.
see. Well, I mean, I guess maybe a big question on everyone's mind, especially if you're in the real estate industry. What do you think the repercussions will be on the insurance industry? Are we going to see big rate hikes? I mean, any changes you foresee on how flood insurance works?
No to the rate increases. Just
Really?
because I don't see a huge payout on the insurance side of things. Actually, yesterday I saw a couple policies for the first time in a couple of years that have actually gone down,
Really?
which seriously hasn't happened in probably over 5 years.
That's amazing, though.
It is. And like I said, my market is better than when I saw you guys last year as far as how I can help clients.
Jeff, could that be due to some of the legislation that they are opening up to more agencies and bringing more agencies into the state? So maybe there's some more competition?
Potentially, yep.
Yeah, which, by the way, is a great squirrel note. Competition is not out there right now when you're looking for a home over here with Cindy and Mahar and Associates, but this sounds like a total commercial. The competition is less right now, and I am not BSing you. If you want to buy a house, now is the time to do it, because as soon as these rates drop, and they will, you're going to have competition. So just like Jeff said, competition lowers your insurance rates. Competition increases the price of your home. So
buy yours today.
Buy it today before it's too late. So that was a good one. So prices coming down. Dang, that's awesome.
Yes, I mean, with flood insurance too, because I guess, my thought, okay, if there's, been such an issue or whatnot, are those...
Potentially with the flood, because that's going to be on a federal level versus on a state level. So potentially, yeah, potentially.
Okay.
So how about this
hopefully
one?
not like huge hikes, right? They could still be, hey, it's affordable coverage. You're not required to have it, but still should be affordable for most people to get there.
Something I will tell you, just a quick side note if I can, on flood.
Yeah.
I was able to help a couple clients this year. Flood really wants those policies to be renewed, like maintained. So if you have somebody buying your home from the seller, that flood policy is a big asset as far as transferring that to the new owner. I was able to save several $1,000s on a deal by the seller had the flood policy, and we were able to roll that in. Again, I'll go back to my point. If you have an agent, they'd be able to educate you on something like that. But
now, was that a FEMA flood policy?
Correct.
So what you're doing is you're grandfathering them in under what, the zone and the rate and everything?
Just on the policy.
Just on the policy.
Yeah.
So if that buyer just, didn't call, they're like, oh, let me start fresh, then they would have paid a lot more money instead of just getting it transferred.
And that's even if you don't have flood insurance that's required.
Correct.
So Sen, that's a great marketability angle. That's even a great social media post is, that a house that has a good, cheap flood policy is actually more valuable. Just like people talking about assigning mortgages. I was talking in the bathroom to somebody about that just now, about assignment of FHA mortgages. That is a pain in the ass. Assigning or transferring flood, I bet, is not.
Very easy.
Very easy.
Very easy.
Okay.
Wow, that's some good advice. But there's another one on here I wanted to ask. I'm going to steal one from you here. If somebody, after a storm, finds out they don't have enough coverage to repair their house, what happens?
Well, so you could go FEMA.
Yeah.
I would say if you've driven around the Tampa Bay area, you can see what you're talking about with the blue tarps still on some folks' roof.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, not a lot happens.
So you can go to FEMA. If your regular insurance doesn't cover, you can be like, all right, I need your help, FEMA.
You can potentially. I think the max, I looked it up this morning, it was somewhere in the ballpark of $40,000. That you may, again, that's a big may.
Yeah.
That you may be eligible for.
So for like FEMA assistance, that's why people do that. So they call you first. You guys discuss that there's not enough coverage, and then that's their second
Correct.
avenue.
Correct.
Okay.
Man. So we got a minute left. What do we want to leave the listeners with besides your phone number again? Anything? Anything exciting?
Say the phone number again, but wow, this went quick.
It did. It went super fast. Well, we're having a lot of fun. You can find Jeff at 813-333-9887. That's 333-9887. And he does all kinds of insurance. I was going to open up something on renter's insurance. We don't have a lot of time, but I know Jeff would agree with this. If you are a renter,
get the insurance.
Please.
It's less than $15 a month.
Oh my God.
Also look into the flood. Don't be like those folks on Davis Island, especially if you're on the first floor, and review your policies with your agent annually.
Boom.
Awesome.
And I'm going to leave you with some advice. Get an agent. Get a freaking agent for real estate, for insurance, and for mortgage. For Pete's sake, get an agent, guys. Like and share. Watch the Business Happy Hour. Jeff, thank you for coming.
Yeah,
Thanks for
so
having me.
much.
Thank you so much.
It was absolutely awesome. Guys, we'll see you next week. We've got another great guest. I'll keep it a surprise. Stay tuned. We'll see you when we get on air next week. Have a good weekend. All right. Thank you, Instagram and Facebook, for